Welcome to Life Messages, brought to you by www.theato.org. Hello, this is Don Walker again, and I would like to recap what I spoke to you about earlier. I spoke to you about not being alone, how no matter what situation you are in, you are not alone. But then I'm going to speak about you running to God. Now, Jacob, who I spoke about earlier, was a man who tried to trick his brother and trick his father, and was successful at doing so, to the point where his brother was ready to kill him because of him tricking his father and his brother to receive the birthright and to receive the blessing. You have to listen to part 1 in order to understand what I'm talking about. But let's move forward. Now, he was not the favorite son to his father. His father actually favored his brother. And as he left his father's house and went to sleep in the wilderness to escape his brother's wrath, he slept on the ground and used a rock as a pillow. In his sleep, he saw a ladder that stood up from the ground all the way to heaven. And even though he thought he was alone in the wilderness, he saw angels ascending and descending from heaven up and down that ladder. This is where we get the term Jacob's ladder from. And at the top of the ladder was God. So when he woke up, he realized something. He realized no matter the situation he was in, he was not alone. Even though he was not the favorite son to his father, he realized he was not alone. Even though he messed up and got caught tricking his sibling and did not have favor from his family because of what he did, he realized that God was still with him. And like God spoke in the dream, he was still in a position to be blessed. See, a lot of times we may be in situations in life where we mess up and we think that we can never be blessed, but that's not true. All we have to do is turn to God. God loves humility. That's something that attracts to God like a magnet, like metal to a magnet. Humility attracts God to us and attracts us to God. To the point where when he woke up from that dream and realized that he was not alone, he made a vow to God. He made a vow to God that if God would take care of him, even though he's alone in that wilderness, if God would take care of him from that point forward and allow him to go back to his homeland in peace, that he would give God 1/10 of all and that he would worship God all the days of his life. And that's exactly what happened. In the future, years and years later, 21 years later, he was married, had children, at least 13 children, 12 boys and 1 daughter. He went back to his homeland and met up with his brother, and his brother forgave him. And he went back in peace. Jacob's name was changed to Israel, and his 12 sons represented the 12 tribes of Israel. This is a situation where, even though he was alone, by his own doing, by his own sin, by his own trickery, he was able to turn back to God because he realized that God never left him. God was there all along. And because he turned back to God and dedicated his life back to God, and in that time was able to give or willing to give God from his own substance, God blessed him greatly. And even now there is a country in the Middle East named after him, Israel. And speaking of dreams, I had a dream myself that was a little bit disturbing, but I'm going to share it with you. When my wife and I moved to Virginia and went back to Victory Christian Ministries International, we decided to go to the Woodbridge location. And there, Apostles Tony and Cynthia Brazelton graciously allowed us to be over the teen ministry, which is called Charisma. And shortly after being over the teen ministry, God gave me a dream. In that dream, I saw one of the gates of hell. I entered this gate, which actually looked like a mansion. It was beautiful, large marble walls. And as I entered with other people. A lot of them were teenagers and young adults. And when we entered in, the door closed. To hear more about the vision that I had about one of the gates of hell, listen to You Are Not Alone, Part 3, where I focus a little more on running to God on www.theato.org.
You are greater than every sin you've forgiven. You're greater, you are greater. I trust in you alone.